Hi, my name is Jacob and I want to welcome you to this week's webinar from GLFR, which in this week's is about getting all the benefits of the GLFR Greenkeeper part of the platform. There are a lot of features in the platform for your greenkeepers where you can get a lot of details about your golf course and work with your golf course in the platform, and I want to show you how to do that today. Let's jump into the agenda. The first thing I'll talk about is the areas on the golf course, how to get area calculations out of the golf platform. We map your course and have a lot of data on that, so I'll show you that. The next step is mapping new elements. Maybe you want to map your tech elements, or you have a new bunker planned, or expanding a lake or something like that. It's really important for you to know how to add new elements to the platform, and it is fairly simple to do it, so I want to show you how you actually do that. One of the good reasons to map your elements is to get your tech installations documented in the GLFR platform, so you can get the tech map out of it, and I'll show you how that works in the GLFR platform as well. And last but not least, I will show you how to actually add documentation to the elements that you've already mapped. But let's jump into it. First of all, you have your areas. It's very important for you to know the areas of your golf course and how big are the different elements out on your course. And if you go into GLFR Business and into areas, you'll see the overview that I have here that show you the aggregation of all the areas on your entire golf club. How many greens do you have? What is the combined size of those? Your fairways, your foregreens, your bunkers, your lakes, everything that has an area in the platform is summarized here on this page. You can also scroll down on the page to see all the individual courses. So if you have, for example, an 18-hole course and a pay and play course, you can see those as separate entities in the platform. This makes it easy for you if you want to upgrade something or spray some fertilizer only on one of your courses. You can easily find the total numbers of that course. And it is a very important and effective tool for you when you want to purchase those things you need to spray out, whether it's new grass grains or fertilizer or pesticide or whatever it is. Knowing the areas just makes your purchasing and your sourcing a lot more effective. If you don't have the right numbers, you end up either buying too much and over fertilizing, which is not necessarily good, or if it's pesticides, maybe illegal. And if you have the wrong number and it's too high, then you end up under fertilizing and not getting the effect that you're all actually going for. So knowing the right numbers is actually very important. I will jump into GLFR Business here. Let's just see like that, just to show you exactly where you find these numbers. I'll go to our demo club right here. So you find your total combined areas under the main menu point Greenkeeper, where we just have a point called areas. Simple as that. And this is where you see the graph that I had in the slide. So this is where I see the combined areas. In this case, the fairways make up most of the areas we've mapped. On this demo course, we don't have semi-rough, very much at least, or rough elements mapped, so that's why the fairways are the biggest elements. But that is defined by how your course is mapped. When you become a customer, we do a pro mapping of your course, and every element and every type of cut we can see is mapped, so you can see all of those in here. This is the total areas, and if I scroll down, just as I said, I can see it per individual course. In this case, the 18-hole course called Open Course. I see I have 17 fairways, which means one of my par 3s doesn't have a fairway, and so on. You see 18 greens and so on and so forth. You go down to Ing, which is a 9-hole course in this case, and I can see that right here. So I see that same division. If you don't want hectares but square meters, you can simply switch it in the bottom. And within not very long, you can also go into yards, square feet and stuff like that when you want to switch. But that's not implemented at the time of this webinar yet. But that's how you see your total areas of your course. So if you need to switch out all the sand in your bunkers or fertilize all your fairways, this is where you get a very precise number of how large an area you actually have on your course. Let's jump back into the slides. I will just take this out there so I can quickly switch. Yeah. Another thing you can do with the areas is that you can map new elements. In a few minutes, I'll show you how to map new elements. But you can also do that if you consider adding new elements that you haven't added yet. So if you're considering adding a new big bunker or waste area or expanding a lake somewhere, you can go out, you can map it, and then you can get the areas immediately to see how much new sand would you need, or how much less fairway would you have if you changed this. So you can see those numbers directly in the platform, so you can actually do a calculation of the actual cost or how much you'd save if you changed something on your course, which of course is very important. So how do you map new elements? The mapping of new elements is done in the app we call the GLFR Greenkeeper app. It is a fairly simple app, and all it can do is add new elements to your course. So if you're out there and you want to add something, you simply download the GLFR Greenkeeper app and start the mapping process. The mapping process is as simple as we're trying to show in the image up here, and I'll make sure to link a video that goes into very specific detail on how it works on the links below this webinar, and of course on the support site we have. But it's as simple as you open the app, you tell the app that you are going to, for example, map a new bunker as the example behind me. Then you click start in the app, and then you walk around the edge, the perimeter of the bunker, or around the new fairway, or along the drain line, or if it's a sprinkler, you simply stand just where the sprinkler is and click add. Then you go over to the next green sprinkler and click add, and over to the next one and click add. It is that simple. So you can add new tech elements, you can add new course elements like bunkers or fringe area or a hazard marking or penalty area as it's called today. You can also add temporary areas such as area under repair if you want to map those for your own sake, or so you can show it in the GLFR app so players can see them. If you have an area under repair that's active for maybe a couple of weeks because you're making some work, it's really good to present that in the app so players can see it when they tee off, that you have an area in the top right of the hole next to the green that they can't go into. It's really simple to add it, and you can do it directly with your smartphone. If you want to map elements, you can borrow or rent one of these from us, which is a high precision GPS. In the video where I show you exactly how you do it step by step, I also show you how this works. Basically, this high precision GPS connects to your smartphone via Bluetooth, and then it takes over the GPS. The GPS on the smartphone is good for many things, but if the weather is not perfect, if it, for example, is raining or very cloudy or maybe even snowing, then the GPS in the smartphone isn't very good. Then you need one of these, which is way more stable and can give you the precision you need. So you can rent it if you want to map, for example, all your tech elements or something like that. You can also map the pin position with GPS, and in that case we really recommend using the high precision device or a high precision device you buy yourselves. And that's because if you map the pin position and your phone GPS is off by a few meters that day, you might not realize it when you're standing there trying to map the pin. So you're standing here and the pin is actually 2-3 meters over there, but the players will get really confused if you do that. But you can do it if you have a high precision GPS. It's simply selecting pin position in the Greenkeeper app, standing next to your pin, and then click add. Then we will automatically move the pin from where it was yesterday to where you are today. If you have a good GPS, that's a great way to do it. If you don't have a good GPS and you still want to map the pins, you can do that by actually mapping it. I tried to delete that image, I'll just do that. Okay, should look like that. I'll present it here instead then. You can map it without a GPS if you want to map the pins. I'm telling this here because it's almost certainly the Greenkeeper that's going to do the pin position mapping. And this is a little different from how you do the other mapping parts. You actually have to walk out the meters in and to one of the sides where you have the pin. It's fairly simple to do. You stand at the tee, which would be down here, so the front part of the green where the play line goes through the center of the green, and then you simply walk a number of meters into the green where you want, how deep you want your pin to be, and then you walk out to one of the sides. In the example here, you would walk 12 meters in and 1 meter to the side, to the left in this case. And then you take up your smartphone and you type in 12 in and -1 for 1 to the left, just like a simple coordinate system. And when you click save, we automatically find that GPS position based on your mapping of your course and update the GLFR app directly as soon as you click the save button. So that's a really easy way for everyone to do it without having to purchase the high precision GPS. There will also be a video that specifically shows how this works. If you want to go into a little more detail, you can find that on our support site. Just search for pin positions. You'll find it. Let's go back to the slideshow. Weird that this image shows up, but this is one of the results you can get from mapping the pin. From the walking in and to the size, you can actually get what we call a pin sheet that you could print out. It is of course shown automatically in the GLFR app, but if you want a printed pin sheet for a tournament or just for the guests coming in, you can generate that directly from the platform if you've mapped the pins. Okay, so that was pins. Back to normal mapping of elements. As I mentioned, you can map a lot of different elements, but a really good idea after you map them is of course starting to document things on these elements. And you do that in the tech map part of the GLFR Business platform. The tech map gives you a great overview of all the installations you have on your course. For the first time you get access to the platform, you will see just a map of all the elements we've mapped for you in the pro mapping process of the implementation. And that's why you can also quickly get an overview if we got everything. Did we map all the elements that you expected, to see if everything looks the way it should. It's also where you'll see your map of all your tech installations. Like the example I have behind me here, the blue lines and the blue dot. Oh, it's just inside, so I can actually point to it. So that would be a sprinkler, and this would be water pipes, and you can add your tech or your electrical installations or your valves and everything you want to add to the map. And once you've added it with the Greenkeeper app, so been on the course and actually mapping the elements, you can start documenting things to that same map. So as I have in the example here, I've selected the sprinkler down here, and then I've named it Rainbird because that's one of the producers of sprinklers. And you can type in whatever you want in model and serial number, for example, in the field called description. So if you want, for example, your model and your serial number, I would recommend doing it like the example here. So write model, and then the model number, and then serial, and then the serial number. Everything you write in the description field can be used as a filter. So if you add this model, for example, you could quickly add a filter where you say, okay, I want all the elements that have this model shown on my map. Then everything else will be removed, and then you can see all elements, for example, all your sprinklers of model XYZ in this case. It could also be your drainage pipes, where if you have different diameters, you could add that directly to your map. And that enables you to make a filtered map so you can actually see those specific elements. And it's only your imagination that sets the boundary for what you can add in here. I know some courses who've also added the combination of different types of grass on their greens, for example. So you can add the actual type of grass seed in the description, so you can actually find where do we have this kind of grass and where do we have this kind of grass and stuff like that. It may seem simple, and as a greenkeeper you probably know this, but having it well documented makes it easy for you and your employees to actually know what's going on the course. So that's why it's important. I will again jump over to GLFR Business to show you where this happens. So you actually just go into Tech Overview. That's where you get the map. The first thing that loads is the entire map of your course. So this could be my example course right here. And as you see, down here I have some blue elements. This is where I've demoed a tech installation. So this could be how, I don't know if that's how it's actually installed, but this is how I imagined installing sprinklers and water pipes down a fairway. And I have it up here around a green where there are a lot of sprinklers, so that green gets a lot of water, which is great. So what you actually do is simply you zoom in and then you select the element where you want to document something. In this case, you can add the name, which is just whatever you want to call it. We already call it sprinkler because that's the element you added. So I would suggest, again, just call it Rainbird or Toro or whatever you want to write up here. And then in the description field, that's where you add, for example, the model, or whatever you want to add. You can, as I said, type in anything you want to add up here. Model 1234 or something like that, and simply click save. Then it's saved and something you can make a filter of. To make a filter, you simply click the filter icon up here, and then you say, okay, I want everything in the map where I have Rainbird in the name. I click search. Oh, maybe I spelled it wrong, did I? Oh, Rain Toro is what I wrote. Of course, nothing shows up then. Let's just go with that instead. Click search, and then that one sprinkler shows up. So if you had like 200 sprinklers of the weird name Rain Toro, then that's how you make the filter. Or if it's the diameter of the water pipe, or whatever it is. So the only thing you have to remember is that some things are written in the name and some things are written in the description. The model and the serial number or the diameter and stuff, that would usually be written in the description. So that's where you want to make that kind of filtering. And you can combine the two. So if you have a lot of water pipes from one maker and some from another, but you only want from one maker in one diameter, you can do a name and a description filter with no issues. You can also make a sprinkler simply on an element type. That could be, or a filter, that could be sprinklers. So that gives me a map only of the sprinklers. Let's say I also want my pipes. I can set a comma and then write pipe, I think. And then I get the sprinklers and everything called pipe, which would be the water pipes in this case. So that's how you work with the filtering and how you get the map you need for whatever you're working on. Another different or important thing that we saw when I selected this element right here is that you can add logbook events. The logbook events, or the comments if you'd say, that's how you document what actually happens with that specific element. In this case, I already made an example here where I uploaded an image, in this case the GLFR logo. You can upload whatever you want. And I said it was a test for the airfare. So what you actually do is you simply select an element and you click the little plus right here. And then you can add whatever comment you want. So if you, on the sprinkler, you switched out the O-ring or switched out the entire unit or whatever you did, you can add that in here. It could also be that you fertilized a specific green, or you refilled a bunker with sand, or whatever it is. So let's just say I switched out the unit, something like that. If you want, you can add an image. Simply click the plus and use your selector to say this image is really good for that. You could do that right on the course with your smartphone, so you can do it as you take the picture. Click add, because this image clearly tells us that I switched out the sprinkler unit, and then click create. Then this is saved and permanently documented on this sprinkler. So your employees or you in 2 years time, you can go in and see the history of what actually happened on this specific sprinkler. It makes it a lot more effective for you to work and get things documented, and you know the history of what happened. Just to explain it, in this case it says unknown user. That's because I'm logged in as an admin, and in your case your name or your employee's name who did it will of course show up here. It just anonymizes me because I'm logged in as admin and not as a user on this specific golf course. So you would see your employee's name. And that's how you work with the tech map. And that's how you document all your elements. And getting started with this, of course, is a task, especially mapping all the elements. If you have any kind of digital map of your elements, then contact us. There is a chance that we can import it for you. If you have it in a shape or a KML file or some other digital format, maybe we can import it directly. I can't promise that we can import it directly to the platform, but I can promise that we will try. If you have it on a different kind of map, then maybe there's something we can map it from, and then we will find out how to get that done in the best possible way for you. But let's just take that after the webinar. Yeah, and that's basically it. That's a rough overview of what you can get out of the GLFR Greenkeeper platform. Let's just jump back to the agenda quickly to see what we went through. First of all, the areas. You can get the areas of any element you want on the course. Oh, one thing I didn't show that you actually get from the tech map as well. You can get areas of specific elements in the tech map. So where the areas part of the system actually shows you the combined areas. If you want the area of this specific bunker, just click it in the tech overview and you get that area right up here. Simple as that. You can add more elements to your selection by holding down the control key on your keyboard. Then these two bunkers combined are 181 square meters. It's that simple. I told you how to map elements. There is a way more specific video that shows you how to do it, how the Greenkeeper app works, how you connect to the GPS, and how I actually map a few sprinklers and a water pipe on a green, so you can get started with that. Then I showed you how the tech map works, how to work with documenting stuff on the tech map, adding all the information you need so you can make filters and the right maps and actually work effectively. And lastly, I showed you how to add log or comment elements to your tech map so you can actually see what you've been working on your golf course. And last but not least, the floor is open for questions. If you have any questions, you can always shoot them to support.b2b@glfr.com. Then our support staff and myself are sitting there ready to answer your emails. That's the absolutely most effective way for both you and us to get in contact with us. Because sometimes we can be hard to reach, but the support.b2b@glfr.com, there's always at least one guy responsible to answer at the GLFR office all the time. So contact us in there if you need any help or have any questions. Thank you.